of all, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us this morning. Let me get your thoughts on the activities at Anniversary Towers. Dramatic resignation a couple of months back. Even more dramatic return. What do you perceive of what is going on there?
To be honest, Maura, I wish we were discussing more serious things about this country, such as, for example, the high unemployment rate, toxic politics, how we can move our country forward, than discussing the joke that is those commissioners. Those commissioners are disgraceful. They have failed the integrity test to begin with. They are shameless. And I think, for me, if there was anything we could actually do, is to surcharge them for the services and the benefits they enjoyed while they were commissioners then. Because how can you publicly resign, disparage the same institution, its leadership? Listen, I am not a fan of IABC, and I've criticized them many times. But on this particular one, I'm fully supporting Chebukati to lock those guys up. And we know that they are coming back.
Lock them out. Lock them out, sorry.
I'm told they are coming because we have seen a preliminary report of the audit. I think they are coming to try and sanitize themselves so that they are not able to be investigated. In my view,
because some queries have been raised.
Raised specifically about, I think, Kony and Wachanya. They cannot account for money. These are now suspects on pilferage of public funds. But more importantly, really, I don't even think you guys should be hearing their return, because I think you're giving credence to nonsense.
Even if it's a matter of public interest, that a Kenyan in the north of the country or the south would want to see what's going on.
But seriously, other than the fact that, well, they attempted to come back and Chebukati locked them out, I think it should have ended there, because really we are entertaining nonsense, if you ask me. And I'm sorry if I'm using very strong words, because these are mature people, public officers, who knew, for example, that I have lost confidence in this institution and its leadership. I resigned publicly. Then 5 months later, can they actually account for what they've been doing for the last 5 months, assuming that they now want to come back? They have squandered duty.
From the position that you sit, what do you think is happening behind the scenes? These
are puppets of some political class.
With who?
I can tell you for sure. I mean, listen, you know, I have a bit of history with the IABC. In 2011, I was the first chair of the selection panel that recruited the Isaac-led committee. And again, I strongly opposed the disbandment of Isaac-led committee.
Isaac Hassan.
But you see, it was the same political class that time, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and some of their lieutenants, who actually agreed to disband IABC. And you remember opposing it. I even met, Raila and Representative President Uhuru, and I told them, this is a very bad precedent. It's like we do not want strong institution. We want to kill institution. And of course, the manipulation of the IABC as an electoral management body speaks to the selfish interests of the political class. These fellows must have been told by their political masters, whoever they are, go back there. Because every political class, I mean, everybody now who wants to control IABC wants to have their own people there. And that's why it's correlated to the problems we've always had with the election.
I'm buying into your theory. So someone somewhere told them, go back.
Definitely.
Why did they tell them to leave in the first place, in your view? If we are to buy what you're saying.
I mean, it's very straightforward. I think in the first place, they were told, if you resign, then IABC will lack credibility.
Okay.
And that was the idea. And remember the arguments that IABC had lacked credibility, there is no confidence. And it's true. Even I supported the idea that IABC does not lack credibility. But I was torn apart. Do we just disband? Did we form this IABC for purposes of the 2017 election only? And I think for me that was wrong. But unfortunately for them, because they don't read, even their political masters do not read the Constitution. The Constitution says...
Or maybe do not interpret it the way you do. No, some would say.
At least they should read. Because if you read the Constitution keenly, you must have a minimum of 3 commissioners and a maximum of 9 commissioners. That's the Constitution. So you don't even need to interpret, you just need to read. So when they resign...
In black and white.
In black and white. So when they resign, they thought, with their resignation, then there will be no IABC commission. You see how mediocre they are and their political...
Okay, mind your language, even as...
Okay, but you see...
I get what you're trying to say.
If acts, are of a foolish nature, we should say that. So I think for me, it's unfortunate what's happening in our country, especially at IABC, and I think Chebukati, in my view, should stand strong. I've never liked Chebukati because I think he's never been a good leader. But on this particular one, I support his actions fully. I want him to stay strong and to make sure those people do not spend even a single day at the IABC.
Would you have confidence going to another election with Chebukati at the helm of the IABC or whatever body?
You know, even last year, even though we raised concerns around Chebukati's leadership and the IABC, all we wanted to see that are there irreducible minimums for us to be able to participate in an election. If Chebukati fixes the problems at IABC, and if it stops treating IABC like almost his chattel, you know there are problems with the former CEO, I mean the CEO, who is now I think on suspension. And others. I think if he cleans up IABC, I think, you know, if an institution follows its ethos and pathos and values, it may not even matter even if you put a cow to be in charge of it.
Even if you put a
cow.
Okay, this is an example you're using.
It's just an example.
Not I'm
not calling, you know.
Okay.
So if the institution is self-effecting itself, you know, if its systems and processes matter. And if you remember, Maura, last year we spoke a lot about systems and processes, and we documented and we said what's wrong. You know, we went to court. You know, all those things. If those things are in place, it may not matter. And that's why we are saying, for example, if we fix the problems that ail this country, it may not even matter who becomes the Kenya's president in 2022.
That is the dream.
Or 2027. Yeah, that's the dream. I mean, that's for me is what we want. We don't want this kind of this kind of people who lack integrity. They disparage the institution. They actually want to kill the institution from within.
Let me use what you've just said to take us to something else that you've been quite vocal about.
Yes.
You've actually proposed that the Building Bridges Taskforce should be disbanded.
Yes.
You've said a couple of things. You've said that the committee is operating illegally. You've written to the head of public service, Joseph Kinyoa, asking that taxpayers' money not be used to fund the activities. You've also said the handshake was a personal affair. Personal, it means almost like between friends. Why do you hold this view? Actually,
to quote both President Uhuru and the Honorable Raila Odinga, they have described each other as brothers. And if you saw President Uhuru in address to his father's memorial on the 22nd, he said this handshake is much deeper. And he came out very angry to anybody. And listen, just for the record again, we, again, were the first political party on the 10th of March that congratulated President Uhuru and Raila for the handshake. And we said that the handshake for us, the way we interpreted it, was initiating the path to reconciliation.
So what has changed?
And that path to reconciliation, first of all, had to acknowledge there were wrongs that were committed. And in fact, in our letter, dated the 10th, which we attached to this letter, we listed a number of things that must happen for the country to reconcile. But where we have concerns is in the creation of another body called the Building Bridges Taskforce that's going to eat into our public money based on agreement between two individuals, what they call shared objectives. And in our letter, we have argued so rationally and eloquently that where will you stop in the president sharing objectives with as many Kenyans as possible? And then if that will result into forming of a task force, then there is a problem. Because today, I believe I share certain objectives with President Uhuru Kenyatta. If tomorrow I shake hands with President Uhuru Kenyatta and then it results into a handshake, which eats into our public money, that's where we have a problem. Number two, we said, this is an agreement. If it's an agreement between two individuals, fine. Let it not be an imposition on the general public, for the reason that it offends Article 201 of our Kenya Constitution on prudent use of public funds. And that is the third reason for us. The fourth reason, because you see, we must use public funds prudently. If you think NCIC is not doing its correct work, EACC and the rest, why not give them money? Because these fellows, in their first request, they request for 300 million. Kenya shillings.
And we are told that they have been hindered
up to June,
you know, because of lack of
that was up to June.
Yes.
Tell me what you will do with 300 million if you gave that money to DCI, Directorate of Criminal Investigation, Office of the DPP, the Auditor General report, to enhance their capacity to be able to find things. And then we've also said this Building Bridges team is undermining constitutional bodies and independent offices. For example, one of their TOR is to look into matters corruption. What will be the work of EACC? They are also to look into matters of cohesion. What is the work of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission? They are also to look into matters of integrity. They are also to look into matters of security and terrorism. What will be the work of our national security force and all that? And we have listed a number of institutions that they are undermining with their TORs. And
I was about to say, I think I've given you adequate time to sort of summarize for our viewers what you've raised in that particular document. My question to you
But I've also raised the other important issue, Maura, is the fact that we already have in this country existing findings on what ails Kenya.
Various reports.
Various reports, right from the TJRC report, our own Kenya Constitution, the Kriegler report, the Waki report, the Akihumi report, the Kiliku report. They are like, we listed about 9 reports that have made findings on what ails Kenya. All we are saying in our letter is this: please implement those findings, because that's exactly what ails this country.
So in addition to your letter to Kinyua,
yeah,
are you moving to court?
We gave him 7 days.
When
to respond
those
to us.
days elapse?
I think the letter was sent when
22nd.
22nd.
Okay.
So we still have time. So we are hoping that by this week he will respond to us, and then we'll make. I think we are also making a demand again this week on disclosure on how much money they're actually spending based on Article 35 of the Kenya Constitution, the right to information.
How much money the task force is spending?
Task force is spending.
Okay.
Yes. So
what would you say to those who feel that you've jumped the gun too soon? The task force has barely been in office. Give them a chance. Let's see what they can do, maybe differently.
First of all, that's not true. They were formed 5 months ago. And because, as we describe in our letter, that they are directionless, unconstitutional, confusing, and amorphous.
You've been able to see all that in 5 months?
Listen, 5 months is such a long period for a task force of 1 year that's been given 1 year to have started. I have experience as the director of the former committee of experts. We are given 1 year to write this country's constitution. And within 2 months, 3 months, we are taken off fully. And we are already collecting views, we already started drafting and all that. This task force is political expediency. And for me, it should not sanitize the problems of this country. And we know that. We have also done our research. One of their specific mandate is to come up with a proposal to amend the Constitution to accommodate people through the back door into government. Listen, you know, Maura,
and that's what you're reading into this?
No, they have even said it themselves. It's
never been sort of on record. It's always been maybe at a rally here or there, and you know what politicians say at rallies.
It's possible that we may have been born at night, but not last night. This country, in this country, we know. I think
that's not a very fair comment, party leader.
Well, all I'm just telling you is this: already information has come out that one of their tasks is to try and come up with this idea of inclusion of people into government, especially political losers. And what we are saying as a party, that we must have discipline in our countries, that if you participate in an election and you lose, adopt certain roles like Third Way Alliance Kenya has adopted to say, we are going to play opposition policy, and reasonable opposition policy. As you can see from our letter is actually advisory to Kinyua. We are not mobilizing confrontation or anything.
Are you working alone as Third Way Alliance in this?
On this particular one?
Some feel that you might be fronting the interests of others.
Like who? Listen, Third Way Alliance has remained. You know, it's very interesting that Kenyans do not think that other people can be independent of their minds. And this is the cocoon Kenyans have been held for in a long time. That you think what can happen in this country only is because of certain political persuasion, however mediocre that position may be. You know, so Third Way Alliance has remained independent. And let me just give you a small history. In August last year, when we conceded defeat, we were told with another political coalition that we were Jubilee. But you see, they didn't even read our statement. We said we are conceding defeat, but we are going to investigate on how this transmission of results were done. And again, Maura, we are the only political party that came up with an audit of the transmission of results. We rushed to the Supreme Court. And at the Supreme Court, we supported the petition of Raila Amolo Odinga against President Uhuru Kenyatta. Of course, I became an enemy of Jubilee.
You were then labeled one side or biased.
I was then labeled NASA, Raila. In fact, some of them even went ahead to say that Ekuru will not even participate in this election because he's a Raila puppet. Then when we were given the win on the 1st of September, and we were told, go and repeat in accordance with the Constitution, strict compliance with the Constitution. You know, again, we were excluded, if you recall. I went to court. Justice John Mativo gave me a win to say that, you know, a repeat poll means an inclusion of all others. When I participated in that election, again, the table stand that I'm a Jubilee. I'm a Jubilee puppet or whatever. Come fast forward to today. I'm honestly, and as a party, giving our party position on what we think this task force is all about. We are told we are speaking the language of others. And people say that without
others who don't support the handshake.
Who don't support the handshake. And people have not even read the 7 reasons we have given.
Okay.
I wish they could.
So you support the handshake, but you have an issue with the manner in which the Building Bridges Taskforce has been constituted, has been operating.
1000%. We supported the handshake. It's documented. We have said it. In fact, we have said we want President Uhuru to shake as many hands as he possibly could.
Including yours?
I have no problem shaking hands with President Uhuru if that's what will help the country.
So give us solutions
But what I'm proposing is this.
Yes, in fact, that's what we want to know.
It looks like to me that the people who are most disgruntled are those who feel that they are outside government. We accepted the Stadio Alliance that we do not want to be in government. We will play our opposition role, which is why, Mwaura, if media had been fair to us to document what we have done since last year to date, we are the only political parties that are proactively engaged on public affairs.
I have given you some time now.
You've given me, but we have listed things that we have done, including having a shadow cabinet, opposing the VAT Act on petroleum, opposing the VAT Act on processed food products, agricultural products, proposing a 14-point agenda for national conversation, which we did last year, and many, many other things, including participation in the national budget. All those people who want to claim to be opposition have never done this, outside parliament or inside parliament. So if there was any fairness in actually documenting what Stadio Alliance has done, we are the only political. So what we are saying is this: we are not desperate to shake the hands of President Uhuru Kenyatta. But there are people who are clearly desperate. And I think we have encouraged President Uhuru Kenyatta to reach out to those people so that they don't threaten the peaceful coexistence of the country. Because we have seen now what has emerged, Mwaura, is that some people, if they are not in government or if they are not parling with government, they will do anything possible to disrupt life of ordinary Kenyans. They will agitate for confrontation. And we don't want that. What we have said as a party is that we will critique government, we will give government our views, our alternative view, and we hope government can actually look into what we are suggesting. Like, I would really wish anybody in government, and I'm looking forward to Kenya's response to our letter, because we are not abusive, we are not saying things that are irrational, we are actually documenting cogent reasons why we think the building task force team is a waste of public money.
I'm also still
we are even saying they are not even vetted.
Whether you're going to, if Kenya doesn't respond, are you going to move to court? Yes or no?
I am prepared to go to court to seek interpretation based on our 7 reasons. Remember, the principle of public participation has also been offended by this task force. These people are going to do work of a public nature using public funds. Now, it is established in our legal framework that they must be vetted. Who vetted them? And secondly, even if you look at that task force, do you see inclusion? Because see, what shocks me is that it came as a result of some analogous discussion around inclusivity. But look, it doesn't even meet the gender rule. There are no youth in that group. It's just some old fellows. If you really want to create cohesion, it's even duplicious. Like, that's another word we use. It's duplicating functions of existing commission. I mean, we are reasonable. I wish somebody could fault any of the...
Your solution is, President Uhuru Kenyatta, you don't need a task force, implement the reports that have been done by task forces in the past, and you'll get the same work done.
That is what we are saying in a conclusion, that we already listed several task forces, findings of what ails Kenya, including toxic politics. And by the way, when we talk of building bridges, shouldn't we also start by saying who actually broke the already existing bridges? There are people... It's
debatable depending on who you support.
Well, I think...
Any Kenyan will give you a different response.
And that's why I'm saying, instead of us chasing the wind, we already have findings on what ails our country. And what we have asked President Uhuru, please, save us more money. We don't have money. We are already a country that is highly indebted. Our national debt keeps on increasing. I'm surprised that President Uhuru is a person who came out loud saying that he is concerned about the wage bill. Now, honestly, if you're concerned about the wage bill and the fact that we don't have money, then why are you spending money we do not even have to create another amorphous body to implement what we already know is there? And there are already existing constitutional commissions and independent offices. I'm loving what's happening in our country in terms of attacking impunity.
You are sort of charged by what you're saying.
I am. I'm excited. I'm excited, and I'm hoping that President Uhuru should not stop. He should demolish buildings. He should arrest as many guys as possible. Let them be. This is giving us a fresh breather. Are you
biting more than you can chew? So on one hand, you're saying disband the task force. Punguza Mizigo initiative. Where are we with that?
You see, but let's separate issues, Mwaura.
Okay.
We've supported...
That's the last interview I had with you, and that's what we were talking about.
We support the fight against corruption. We even said it. We are happy with what's happening. That's good. But if you look at what the president is doing, he didn't do that under the task force. As a matter of fact, if you look at the history, task forces in this country have never, achieved anything.
Reports are really...
nobody's implementing them. So what is the point? So what we are just saying, no, let's be reasonable. We already have people who can do this work. We can enhance their work. Now, we have also come forth to propose a project, which we spoke with you last, called Punguza Mizigo, Reduce Parliament. Again, it speaks to the cost, the wage bill. It speaks to question of equality, because again, that's what ails this country. The fact that women in Kenya and the young people are relegated in position of leadership. Our Punguza Mizigo campaign is suggesting that let's forget about the 416 members of parliament. We want to reduce it to 194 only, because currently parliamentarians are costing us 36.8 billion Kenya shillings annually. In our proposal to Punguza Mizigo, we want to reduce it to 5 billion annually.
How far is the proposal?
At the last check, we had reached about 217,000
signatures. How are you getting the signatures?
Well, it's a combination. Because it's labor intensive, it's finance intensive. So we designed an online campaign. So if you go online, punguzamizigo.com, you will actually find the form. It's 1 minute. You can sign it up immediately. As of last night, it was offline. But is it? I don't know. I'll check with our IT guys.
It's been offline for the last couple of days, so please have them look at it.
We'll have a look at it. But we have also designed forms, I mean physical forms, because we realize that Kenyans want to sign. So you see, that's again giving us a lot of work, because you have to go and transfer this. Because IABC wanted an Excel spreadsheet where they can actually run the data through the database of all voters. And before we started Maura, we actually went to IABC. We showed them the system we are adopting.
And then they gave you the sort of the go-ahead.
They gave us the go-ahead. Okay. And we want to do this meticulously so that we don't fall into the same space as Okoa Kenya or Punda Mechoka. And we're not doing it for political expediency. I mean, if you look again, the 6 reasons we give for Punguza Mizigo, they are actually helping Kenyans. It's not politics. Imagine we are proposing that with this Punguza Mizigo, send more money to the counties from 15% to 35%. Strengthen Senate so that Senate is a real upper house with veto powers. So that when Parliament, National Assembly rejects the report with mercury, the sugar report with the mercury, then Senate can actually veto it. And that's really, that's for me is what our definition of opposition politics in Kenya is. And should be. Should be, or ought to be.
Ought to be. Let me read a couple of SMSs here. A comment from Eldred says, when things happen in this country beyond our comprehension, it has now become safe to attribute them to the handshake theory of resolution.
Yes.
He says the return of IBC commissioners is one of them. Hope Chebukati will accept the handshake. Okay, that's comment's view. Someone here, you don't give us your name, but you say, reality, Ekuru, is that 300 million is less than NYS 1, 2 Ministry of Health scandals, lives lost during elections.
Yes.
He says that you are interested in finding relevance.
No,
I mean, how do you respond? You don't give us your name or where you're writing from.
First of all, I think it's a cheap and tired argument to say that you are looking for relevance. We've been relevant since we proposed to run in the last election. We've commented on national affairs, and relevance is a very cheaper way to look at this. What I will ask him, whoever he is, because he hasn't given us his name, or she, read our letter. And also read what we have been doing as a party and tell us whether we are actually being reasonable, are we playing politics of expediency, or we are actually talking to issues that actually concern Kenya. We have also condemned NYS, and we have said we like what the president is doing with the NYS, but we have also challenged the president. You must also now revisit NYS 1. I know it's NYS 2 that is attracted, but more of the other thing that we must say, even as we support the president in arraigning people, I hope it is not PR. Because we want to see real convictions. And we are also one of the political parties that have consistently said the Auditor General report every year documents who has stolen money, who cannot account for money. And we have said many times, I've even said in your show, that can we use the Auditor General report as a masterpiece of evidence? And can the Auditor General, Edward Aukot himself, be an expert witness? Can his accountants be prosecution witnesses? And let me tell you, with that, we will nail people, governors, MPs, people who have not accounted for money. And again, we don't need a task force to tell us to find what is the problem with corruption. So we have a lot. We have everything.
It seems almost overwhelming in terms of what needs to be done.
So we are replicating, processes. And I think for me, let's save money.
Well, party leader, they say that, is it in the Bible, the lone voice in the wilderness? We hope that those who need to listen to what you have to say are listening. And
it is true. And you see, it's not about populism.
Okay.
Because honestly, in Mwaura, if it's about populism, there are people who have been so popular in this country but have really not moved this country forward.
Fair enough.
At Third Way Alliance, we believe
okay.
we must do our thing correctly.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether we are lonely or not. We hope Kenyans will see, majority of Kenyans will see sense in what we are doing.
Okay.
Because again, last year, just quickly,
comment, yes.
Last year, you invited me for 1 hour, Mwaura,
yes.
and I can see you're just giving me 10 minutes.
No, go ahead. Last year.
You see, for example, last year, when we opposed the exclusion of the rest of the 6 candidates, and we went to court, some people did not think it was important until other political coalitions were planning to disrupt this country. And until we got the win, some people have told us we actually saved the country.
Okay.
We contributed to the country.
Okay.
So again, being lonely, doing the right thing, for me, so long as your conscience is clean, as ours is, we will continue to do the right thing for this country.
I will take that as your last word. Thank you so much, Aukot, for that. Thank you for tuning in. Let me hand you over to Joy Muthengi. I believe she might have some feedback or traffic updates for us. Joey.
Right, yeah, I'm going to take a quick look at some of your traffic updates that have been sent in through a 3 route. I have Isaac Mudusi here who says Jogoo Road jam from Hamza Towers towards Tao, Norma Sana, bumper to bumper, using alternative route if you can. And someone else here saying watu wa kuhepa Jogoo Road kuingia Bahati, it is a mess. You have a photo here that was submitted by Tetwe. Says truck stalled on Mbagathi Way towards CBD, causing mild traffic and no traffic after there. So you can see that. And I like what Commander Loves has to say. Says too many cops on the road today. Be on the right side of the law. I think I think that's generally a good place to be. So that's a look at some of your traffic updates here on Daybreak. Right.
All right.
So
yeah, it seems
it's
going to be me and you today. Willis is still trying to finish up. I don't know how long it'll take for him to do 9 holes. Maybe an hour per hole with the kind of game that I saw he was playing.
Yeah.
And so we'll wrap up for now, Joey. I think it's been a pretty good show. And tune in tomorrow, another fresh Daybreak. Tomorrow we've got a lot lined up for you as well. We can keep the conversation going on social media, but my name is Wahiga Mwaura, at Wahiga Mwaura,
at Joey_Muthengi,
at Willis Raburu, at Fred Enimuli, and at Citizen TV Kenya, #Daybreak. Samana Citizen is up next, but we can keep the conversation going online as well. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Goodbye.